And welcome to the Under Best Podcast. I'm your host Merge, and I'm here with Clayton. Clayton, how has your returning to school been?
Do I have to answer that?
I think that's an answer in itself. Yeah. How long? It's been like 3 weeks since we did a podcast. I think the last one was with Alex.
Yeah.
There hasn't really been much going on with the Lakers except for there's some fun social media stuff, and then Twitter being Twitter. That's really it. But I wanted to get a jump start on previewing divisions, previewing this upcoming NBA season because I believe it's 37 days until the Lakers' first preseason game, and who knows how often we'll be able to get on in the next month or two. So I wanted to get a head start on previewing stuff. Today we're going to preview the Southeast Division. But before we start doing that, let's talk some Lakers. First, let's talk about the biggest rumor of the past 24 hours with the Lakers. There was a Bleacher Report article by Eric Pincus. Everyone knows Eric Pincus by now. And it was a article that was talking about should Lakers develop in-house for their second start, or they should go out in free agency, or if they can do both, really. And the biggest rumor to come out of that article was that Jimmy Butler is open to teaming up with LeBron in Los Angeles, and I don't think it's specified if he wanted to be traded and like during the season, or if he is open to coming in free agency.
Just open to coming.
That's what I thought too. I think there are people on Twitter who are acting like
that he was demanding a trade. Yeah,
why would we do that? Why would the Lakers trade for him? Or there are people saying, yeah, trade these people for Jimmy Butler. I don't think you have to do that. Yeah, honestly, I think if Jimmy wants to come, he's gonna come, and I think he's a decent chance of coming to the Lakers of the stars who are available. Mm-hmm. So starting from there, first let's talk about Jimmy Butler as the player. Last season, he had a really good season with his first season with the Timberwolves. He had an injury after the All-Star break that pretty much just tanked the Wolves season. They were a 3 seed in the West before he got hurt, and Jimmy Butler was playing like an MVP. And then Jimmy gets hurt, and they have to rely on Andrew Wiggins on perimeter scoring, which is never a good thing. And they fell. As good as Karl Towns is on offense, he cannot carry them himself. And Jimmy being gone really just tanked their season.
What are you talking about? They have a former MVP on their team.
Let's not start there. Tyus Jones season over here. So after him getting hurt, they did make the playoffs. They lost to the Rockets in the first round pretty handily. They won one game, but the Rockets controlled the whole thing. And honestly, if Jimmy doesn't get hurt, they're probably a top 5 seed, top 4 seed. And I think they make it maybe to the second round, depending on who they play. I think they beat the Defender. They don't beat the Jazz, but I think they beat the Thunder. But starting from there, Jimmy Butler, how do you feel about his type of fit as a Laker? Is there anything that you're sort of worried about when it comes to Jimmy? Anything like that?
Well, first off, Jimmy's like a top 10 to 15 player. I don't think I have him quite in the top 10. I know you do.
I do.
I got him probably more in that 12 to 15 range.
Better or worse than PG? Laker bias aside.
No. I know. Dang, I have him like kind of in the same tier, to be honest.
I would choose Jimmy personally, but
I think Jimmy. I feel is a better creator, especially for others.
And I think the better defender personally. Or they're both.
I mean, yeah. PG is elite, an elite defender in my opinion, especially at the beginning of the year. He falls off for a while, but no, I kind of have him in the same tier. Yeah, unless he's playing Joe Ingles, and then he's absolute garbage. I guess I probably shouldn't make any more PG jokes. People got offended, and I don't. Well, actually, I don't give a crap if you got offended, but whatever. Suck it. But yeah, I have him about in the same tier. I let me put it this way: I would obviously not turn down Jimmy Butler
Right.
That said, he is probably number 3 or 4 on my list in free agency next year. Behind
him, it's what, Kawhi
and Durant.
Oh yeah, like KD. I forgot about KD.
Yeah. I honestly don't think Durant is an option. I do think Kawhi is definitely an option. But if Jimmy's wanting to come and neither of those guys decide to leave, say Toronto or Golden State, I would take Jimmy. The fit would be kind of wonky because he's not a great spacer.
You would definitely rather give him an open 3 than a lane to the basket because he's a very, very good finisher around the rim.
Yeah, and he did shoot in corner threes this past year, 20%, 20.5%, if I'm reading this right on Basketball Reference. He was 20.5% of his three-point attempts came from the corner, and he actually shot 43.9% from the corner.
Oh,
so
wow.
if you have him in the corner, that's really good. The problem is then above the break.
Well, yeah, he's Jimmy Butler. You're not going to just stick him in the corner.
Yeah, exactly. So the fit's kind of wonky, but I mean, it's not like there hasn't been a path to that in the past with LeBron.
Yeah, the thing that I sort of think of immediately is Wade.
Yeah, of course. That's the one that you go to. I don't think Jimmy is close to as good as Wade was.
No. Wade's the top 25 player of all time.
Yeah. So yeah, it's obviously of different levels, but you can see how the fit would work, even if you don't like the fit exactly. I do have concerns about his health because honestly, not this year, but last year was the healthiest he had been since his sophomore year. Last year he played 76 games, his final year in Chicago. Before that, he has not played more than 67 games since his sophomore year. Yeah. So in 4 of the last 5 years, it's been 67 games, 65 games, 67, and then 59 this year, with obviously 76s last year, Chicago. So health is obviously a concern for me. I do think that you probably want to rest guys from time to time, but that's
shout out to Tibbs.
Yeah, that's 15 to 23 games a season he's missing, and on quite a few minutes, like 38.7, 38.7, 36.9, 37, 36.7 this past year. And that's
not most of the minutes on the 2 years he didn't play with Tibbs.
The last 2, 36.9 and 37.
Oh geez, so they killed him over in Chicago.
Yeah. So I mean, like that's how many minutes per game you're expecting your star to play. But just with all the wear and tear from Tibbs and everything, I think I'm a bit more concerned than some of our friends in our big chat are about him. But I mean, you just don't turn him down. He's also really good at making free throws. That's something that the Lakers don't do. The last 4 years, he's nothing less than 83.2%, which is pretty good. The last 2 years, it's been over 85. I mean, he's a star. He is a top. I would probably have him around, if I'm going to have to give a definite number, probably like 12. I think that's probably where I have him. That's a really good player. So 100%. Yeah. So if you can take him, you take him. That said, the rumor quote, finger quotes and all. I saw quite a few people say it was a really juicy rumor. All it was a line to me, because I mean, that's just the last 5 years up until this year. Honestly, that's how it's been.
I think Jimmy has been interested in LA for a while now, and so this isn't really news to me. That's how I looked at it.
And he may have been interested in the past, but I guess my thing is he then quickly still re-signed that contract and didn't try and change any of the wording of it. So I think that's just kind of where I stand with it. But yeah, I mean, he's number 3 on the list of guys that I'd want to get. I want it taken, take him over Kawhi or Durant, but I also want to turn him down. That said, if I'm getting, if I'm, oh my gosh, I almost just said Mitch. If I'm Magic or Pelinka, I'm just getting Kawhi and calling it a day. I'm not I don't know. I like because I saw several people also trying to, try and fit, say, Kawhi and Butler, and with cap space and everything, you're not going to be able to do that. I mean, you'd have to just dump everyone, and and I don't think you want to do that.
Shout out to the Ringer.
Yeah. I didn't even bother read. I don't read that site anymore unless it's
I don't know why I
read
it. I don't know why I read it, but
yeah, if you could somehow get him for like a stupid deal, like say Tibbs is like, yeah, I'll take Dang back, and what is Jimmy making this year? Let me scroll down to contract.
He's not making that much because he's still making that. It was a small contract.
It was a 5-year, $90 million contract.
Yeah,
I think
nothing for a top 15 player. Jesus.
Well, that was also the cap. So this past year was 19. Yeah. So like,
and also he wasn't that good when he signed it.
When he signed it, I mean, he was already in 14-15. I think he was already an all-star. Yeah, really? He was an all-star. He was 25. That must have been the year that
Derrick Rose
he was coming off 26.8 points a game.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, I take that's per 100. He was coming off 20 points a game. Sorry, my bad. So yeah, no, he was legit then already. But yeah, I've always been get two guys but don't dump all the core. Like if you could do something like Dang, and then I don't know who you would. I mean, most everyone's probably would say Ingram because you don't want to dump.
I'm not trading him, man.
Yeah, you don't. I mean, obviously you'd have to see this year how he's fitting and how he's adjusting, but I know that's probably the most common that would be said, because you would want the spacing that Kuzma provides.
Yeah, and Ingram has a contract coming up next year.
Yeah, but I mean, really, it really doesn't matter because I don't think that Tibbs is trading Butler. I just don't see it. I don't think
the Lakers are trading Ingram.
No, I don't know either. I think just if they could have gotten Kawhi and all they had to give up was Ingram, they would have done it already. Or that they would have done it before that. But yeah, I just don't think Tibbs was patient for 1 year, and then he gave up a whole bunch to get Jimmy, and the package wasn't exactly anything super enticing.
Well, but at this point, it isn't. I mean,
yeah, I mean,
at that point, it wasn't.
It was essentially Markkanen, Levine, and Chris Dunn, right?
I mean, Markkanen's the best player in that group, I think.
Yeah,
and I mean, he's good, but I mean,
yeah,
for Jimmy Butler,
exactly. So, yeah, I don't see Tibbs, and I mean, like, if anyone says he needs to come to his senses, you honestly think Tibbs is going to come to his senses?
He re-signed Derrick Rose for another year.
Yeah, he re-signed Derrick Rose and played him over Tyus Jones, who is one of the best backup point guards in the NBA. So, yeah, no,
he's probably a starting point guard at this point.
Yeah, for at least I think Tyus Jones to Orlando would have made a lot of sense.
He's a free agent this year. It's going to be interesting to see what teams.
He'll be he should probably be an RFA.
He will be, but I mean, I think teams are going to offer a decent amount for him.
Maybe. I mean, no one.
I would.
No one really gave up anything for Fred VanVleet, but I mean, also they gave him a quick 2-year, $18 million deal. So, and
there's a lot more cap space to go around this year.
Yeah.
All right. I'm pretty much. Well, I'm more bullish on Jimmy. Jimmy's been one of my favorite players for the past couple of years. And I think I get the fit being a little wonky. Just because he isn't a knockdown shooter like a Kawhi, like a Kevin Durant, like a Klay Thompson, but he's still good. He's still a good shooter. Obviously, you'd rather have him drive the basket, or you'd rather have him shoot than drive the basket because that's what his game is. But I think I don't know if I've said this before, but I think for me, he's the most likely to be a Laker for some reason. I don't know why. It always seemed like he would be a Laker to me.
Yeah, I never got that, but
I do think we get either him or Kawhi in this offseason. Like, I don't see us leaving empty-handed.
Yeah.
There. Are you worried at all about chemistry stuff? I know some people are because
with Jimmy.
Yeah. Honestly, I just think it's because the guys he's played with are kind of lazy.
I don't necessarily like
are compared to like.
I don't want to call work ethic out because oh, God forbid we see it on Twitter just right now going on. But I mean I think part of what Jimmy is personalities. You know, I don't honestly even know what Andrew Wiggins sounds like at the moment. Because like he's up in Minnesota and I honestly just don't give a crap. But I know like Kat is friends with all of, you know, like the Devin Bookers and, you know, the D'Angelo and all them, and they're all kind of crazy. So I mean that probably gets on his nerves. Because Jimmy figured he'd come there and they'd be a top 3 seed and they'd get deep in the playoffs and they were bounced in the first round. So
yeah, for sure.
I bet he probably. It wouldn't surprise me if he leaves. Let me put it that way.
Yeah.
That said, if the Lakers come down to between him and Kawhi, if they don't take Kawhi, my word.
I mean, yeah. Jimmy's always been Plan B, and for some reason I've been feeling lately that Kawhi's gonna stay in Toronto for some reason. I don't know. It may just be off season.
LeBron's already recruiting him. Didn't you see the picture? He's also recruiting
with Kawhi's gigantic hands. The great Cedi Osman. Cedi Osman. That made me laugh so hard just seeing Cedi Osman with Kevin Durant and Kawhi Leonard and LeBron. I think Mitch Richmond or Tim Hardaway was in that picture too. I can't remember who all. And the guy in the Warrior shirt that LeBron has his arm around. And then, oh yeah, here's Cedi Osman, this young kid from Russia who's played 1 year in the NBA. yeah. Jetty's the best. I love Jetty. I don't care what anyone says. Everyone calls him trash. He's not having a good season this year, I feel. But anyway, that's for the Atlantic Division. What division are they in? Whatever. Before we go to the Southeast Division, let's talk a little about LeBron. As you might know, LeBron's a Laker.
It still is just really crazy to like see the pictures and everything. It's just surreal. After I mean, and of course people turned into like LeBron, and I mean they've been Laker haters forever now, but they turned into LeBron haters like right as he signed, and then you know they're not going to make the playoffs and all this, and you know they still suck, and okay, yep. You don't sound upset about it at all. Yeah, you're being totally, you know, neutral on this. Yeah, okay.
Let's just talk about how much fun it's been seeing LeBron on social media interacting with the young guys, because I think that's been my favorite part of the offseason so far. Just him interacting, him calling Ingram Lil Bro. It's just it's so great.
Oh yeah, he's happy. He doesn't. He's constantly smiling again, and he's
also the greatest dad joker. Oh, it's so great.
Oh yeah, but this is exactly what we had hoped for. You know, not him coming in and just like, all right, you know, like we have to do this, and this, and you know, like of course he's going to come in there and he's going to try and provide some type of leadership, obviously, but he's not going to go in there and just become a jerk. You know, he's starting to go in there and joke around with guys, which is exactly what I think everyone should have hoped for.
Yeah.
So at least Laker fans should have. I know other fans aren't, but whatever.
Yeah, the Lakers. It's going to turn into a narrative this offseason during the season how annoying the Lakers are on social media now.
Well, I mean, I had before he signed, a couple of my buddies were saying he's not going to sign with him. Hasn't he seen? You know, Josh Hart and Kyle Kuzma joking with each other on social media? Like,
LeBron hates fun guys.
Kuzma and Zoe going back and forth. You really don't think? Clearly, he did not care about that. Clearly, And in fact, he's
Clearly
starting
everyone
to join
forgets that
in.
Cleveland. Yeah.
He's like Josh Hart clearly knows no boundaries, and he's going after LeBron, joking like crazy with him. So like, it's perfect. It's perfect. Shut your face.
It's perfect. I think.
I love
it. Man, it's so great. I guess everyone forgot that LeBron hates fun. You know.
Oh yeah,
That's
no fun. He is Jerry Jones. You know, he is part of the no fun league.
Oh, it's so great. I can't wait for this goddamn season. It's killing me. It really is waiting for the season to start. I'm counting every single day down.
Yep.
It's oh my gosh. Anyway, let's move on from the Lakers. Let's start talking about the Southeast Division. It's kind of a lackluster division now. I mean, I guess it's been a lackluster division for a while, but since LeBron left the Heat,
yeah.
But I mean, they still have a couple of teams who are playoff contenders on there. Not Eastern Conference Finals contenders, but they're playoff contenders nonetheless. So let's start from the top. Let's start with the Miami Heat. Miami Heat did really nothing this offseason. They have no money. They have all this money.
They used all that cap space, all of it, on James Johnson. On James Johnson, Kelly Olynyk, and Dion Waiters.
Yep, who didn't play like at all last year because he had a hip injury.
Yeah. Not to mention now that they've got the
and it's on Whiteside.
Yeah. Oh man. And they also gave Tyler Dorsey the Arenas contract.
What did
I say?
Dorsey.
Yeah, whatever. Neither of them are important. But Tyler Johnson, has that Gilbert Arenas contract where it was 2 years of salary control and huge jumps to like 18 million a piece.
Shout out to the Nets for doing
that. Man, they screwed them over, and that was great.
That's funny. The only really transactions they made this offseason, they re-signed Wayne Ellington, which was a good re-sign in my opinion. He was a solid player for them last year. They signed Derrick Jones Jr. to a fully guaranteed contract. He looks really good in summer league. Derrick Jones Jr.
My boy.
He's an NBA player, but we'll get to him in a second. And then they signed Duncan Robinson and former Laker great Malik Newman to
also former Laker great Beyonce Weber.
Oh yeah, he had a half guaranteed training camp contract.
Yeah. Oh, they also don't forget they also gave Josh Richardson shortly into the year I believe it's like a 4-year, $42 million contract, I think.
I'm a Josh Richardson guy, so I think that was a decent contract for him.
Oh yeah, no, I actually thought he was a little underpaid if it was in the 40s, because I think he's honestly really good. But
me too. So Duncan Robinson from Michigan, really good shooter. They signed him to a two-way. He just shot the lights out at summer league. And then Malik Newman, who is just a big name, I think, who they just signed, who the Lakers gave up on too early. I still think that, but anyway, I want to move on to a couple players that we are sort of keeping an eye on for the year. Guys who I think have some decent upside, and guys who I think sort of the future of this team. The guy I want to talk about is someone who I've grown to really like over the last year is Bam Adebayo, power forward / center,
/ summer league point guard. But he won't be doing that in the NBA.
The greatest thing. Point Bam is the best.
It's hilarious.
He was really solid. He was solid for them last year. He didn't get to play as much as I would hope, obviously because of Hassan. I think he fits the modern NBA much better than Hassan. He's a guy that I think who can switch everything. I think he's a really good perimeter defender for a big. He's a good rim protector. He obviously needs to learn a little more discipline and stuff like that. He's still really young, but he has the tools and he has everything to be a good starting center, I think, in the NBA. And I think he's flashed a lot more offensive skills once he left Kentucky. I think he has a bit of a handle. Obviously, he's not going to run point guard, but I think he can like attack closeouts at the very least, take a dribble and attack. I think he has a jumper. I don't know. I don't think it's out to 3-point line yet, but I think he has like an 18-footer right now. I think he will be able to stretch it out in the future. I think he should start for them immediately. I don't see what starting Hassan really does. I mean, Pat Riley and Hassan Whiteside don't like each other already. You're not really hurting a relationship. I think he wants to be gone anyway, Hassan.
Yeah, they should just keep him at home, to be honest.
They should pull their Bledsoe.
Yeah.
And or the Luol Deng or whatever you want to call it. I just think he really fits what the modern NBA wants to go to and what Spoelstra is trying to do. He's a guy who you can play him at the 4. I don't think you really want to. I think you want him to be a 5 as much as possible, just because of the defensive and the switching ability and stuff like that. Unless he adds that jumper, then you can maybe explore some 2 big lineups, but they don't really have a second big that I would like to play him next to. You know, I mean,
they would probably play with Olynyk.
Actually, that would be something that I would be interested in, because Olynyk isn't a good, interior defender. Obviously, he's a solid player overall. I think there were some numbers that were floating around that he was actually really good for them, and the team was a lot better with him on the court than.
Yeah, Olynyk is solid. I just never liked that deal.
Well, yeah, the deal isn't great, but I think as a player, he really contributed to that team. You probably could stick him next to James or Bam Adebayo, and there would be a nice little pairing. Obviously, you can pair him with James Johnson, who's probably the starting 4 anyway. But I just think that if not this year, next year, he's gonna have a breakout sort of season and sort of like come out as being a guy who can, I think, be a top 12 center in the NBA. Not an all-star yet, but I think he's a guy who can provide positive impact on a playoff team. Just with the switching ability, which is really important this era of basketball, and the athleticism, the rim running, the long wingspan, being able to finish decently well. I've turned into a fan after last season. So do you have anything that you want to add on Bam, Clayton?
He's grown on me, but yeah, I know a lot of people think that he's got a ton of potential, and I just don't know if I see it, because he's not going to be running a point Bam in the NBA. Summer League, whatever, but he's not going to be doing that while actually playing in the NBA. And yeah, I don't really think he has a J. So he's also just a little bit of a knucklehead. Not like Dwight Howard knucklehead or Whiteside knucklehead, but he thinks like he can play like the 3, and I would strongly advise against that. But yeah, no, I don't even really see him as a 4. I see him as a 5, and if you play him in that role, I think he could be really good for that role, but I just don't know how good.
Right. I mean, I get it, but I think I just see I'm more of a believer in the jumper than you are, obviously.
I just don't. Yeah, I don't believe in that thing at all.
I mean, I don't know. You can think what you want to think. I've seen enough from him that I think there's something there. Next, you want to talk about your boy.
My boy.
For the longest time.
My boy Derek Jones. I wish Derek Jones was a Laker. I do, because I'm not. You're usually the freak athleticism guy, and he's not only a freak athletically, he's also very long.
No, don't get me wrong. I love Derek Jones.
Yeah. I'm just the high guy on him.
Yeah,
he showed value last year, and he looks to be improving. Do I think he's going to be a very good player? Probably not. It's just one of those guys that I think I could see a potential rotation guy, maybe even just in a rotation, but he's also incredibly cheap right now. So, and he just makes plays, because
and he's a really athletic. Good defender too.
Yeah, he's part of what has made him bad at this point is he's still kind of learning his body, like he knew what he could do, like catching lobs and stuff like that, but he just kind of didn't really seem to understand, like kind of like how Ingram, not to the extent of Ingram, but like how Ingram just has those long limbs and sometimes just doesn't know how to exactly use it in the proper way. And I feel like that's kind of been how he has been. I think that he's also just going to continue to improve. I think he probably left UNLV too early, but that system was bad, so really couldn't do anything with that. So I don't blame him for leaving.
Well, didn't he get kicked out for academic reasons?
Did he? I don't think so. I think he just left.
Or he was ineligible. Ineligible because
yeah, it's not, maybe, I don't know. I don't remember. That was like 2 years.
Yeah,
2 years ago. So, dude is still only 20.
That's crazy. Jesus,
still only 20, and he was one of the youngest his draft as well. Not quite Ingram or Bender, but he was right there. And you know, he went to Phoenix, which is just the only thing that they've been even remotely able to die. Yeah, the only one they've been able to develop is Booker. No one else. So have fun with that. I feel bad for
Igor, I think is actually going to do a solid job. Yeah, but we'll talk about that in the Pacific Division.
But you know, this year, well, especially like last year, they had a lot of guys that the Heat did that went down. You know, Dion went down. I just had the thing with all the games missed and everything. Wayne Ellington played in 77 games, which is good. Only started 2, but Justice only played 68 games. I think also that must have been the previous year. Josh Richardson missed a couple games, but just, I mean, kind of something we always say is you just need wings, you know, and
just athletic wings to throw at guys, you know?
Yeah. And Dragic is good at catching those guys, you know? So I like Derek Jones, maybe irrationally, but he's just one of those guys I enjoy.
Yeah, for sure. The other two guys that I had here was talking about just really quickly, who I think they're probably more important for this team than the guys that we mentioned, but I think Bam and Derek Jones are just a little more intriguing at the moment, just because they haven't played as much. Josh Richardson and Justice Winslow, who are probably starters for this team right now.
Well, Josh Richardson is definitely a starter. He started 81 games. I also think that Josh Richardson is someone that could potentially, with continued development, could be a borderline all-star guy, especially in the East.
Yeah, I think he could end up being like a Jimmy Butler development type guy, you know?
Maybe. I mean, I don't think he's quite shown that, but I think he's still pretty good.
Yeah, I think Josh, he's a really good defender. He's a guy that I think him and Lonzo were like the only guys in the NBA. I think this is from the Basketball Index from Cranch's site. I think him and Lonzo were like the only two guards to grade out as A, interior defenders and A, perimeter defenders.
Yeah.
And
I think I saw that too.
One, Lonzo is awesome. And 2, I mean, Josh Richardson, he's been a guy who like no one really talks about, you know? And he's a good shooter. He's a guy that can attack closeouts. He's a pretty decent athlete as well. He's a guy who can get up and catch some lobs and dunk on some guys. He's gonna be a really good player for this team. He a star. I can see him being a star, like a 3rd or 4th guy on a team. I wouldn't want him to be like your 2nd best player, obviously. But I think on a team, if the Heat can figure out, you know, either if they start tanking or if they figure out a way to get a star, because they have a team that's like, if you add like 1 or 2 stars to them, they'll instantly be a contender, because the rest of their team is pretty much all role players, you know. If they can figure out a way to either grab someone in the draft or trade for someone who's a disgruntled star, then I think they'll be set up. But they don't have that right now. Their team is sort of poised for like a 6-5 seed.
Yeah, they didn't have a draft pick this year, did they?
No, they didn't. I'm not one at all. Trying to remember where.
I think that was from the Dragic deal.
Yeah, the Suns have that pick.
Yeah,
I think that was the pick they got Zaire with.
Yeah, I believe so.
No. They traded for Zaire. Remember? Oh yeah. But 16 was when they got Zaire with. Yeah. And then they traded that for Mikhail. But and then after Josh, we can talk Justice Winslow. I think he's a guy that's. I mean, first of all, Fuck Justice Winslow, just for just for hurting Ingram. But that aside, I think he showed a lot last year. I think Kevin O'Connor had an article about him during the season of him being sort of like in this Draymond mold.
Yeah, that's gonna be the thing for so many of these guys.
Yeah, he's definitely a 4. He improved a little bit as a shooter, but he I think he's still gonna be a really impactful player for this Heat team. But like thinking about like back in his draft, like there's a lot of people thought he was gonna be a star. You know,
yeah,
I mean, me
never
included. I was a Winslow guy initially, but he isn't as good offensively as I thought he was. He has some playmaking acumen. He's a better playmaker than I thought he was.
He's a decent point forward, but he can't shoot. Yeah. And I don't really even think he can truly create for himself. And
he's the guy that can like create off the dribble on like
if he's
not really rim runs,
especially if he's at the 4 where he played the majority of his time this year, which is hilarious because he's only 6'5".
That's the NBA now, man.
But yeah, I remember people thinking that he was a foundational piece and that he was a guy that would be, a 2 or 3 on a championship team. And I never saw that because I think he's a good defender, but I remember people thinking that he was like
Kawhi
or there's another there was a couple guys like he got compared to, and I don't think his D is that good. I think it's good. Excuse me. I think it's good,
but he's not an all defensive team guy.
Exactly. Like he's and I at this point I just think he's like a 6th, 7th man. I don't really know if I want to start him. He literally did not start very much last year. I think he only started 20 something games.
Yeah, I would rather start.
Played 68 games, so he always is deals with like injury bugs quite a bit too. But he only started 25 games, and this is his 3rd year in the league. And I think this is kind of like I don't expect this big jump for him to be good. He did shoot 38% from 3 this year. That said, it was on 129 attempts, so he was taking like barely 2 a game.
Yeah, that's a small sample size. Obviously, if he can keep that up, then he becomes a lot more intriguing.
If that goes up to like 4 or 5 attempts and he's still at 38%, that's really good. Then you can change. I would happily change my evaluation of him, but I just don't.
The shot is the biggest thing. 100%.
Yeah, like he has to be completely wide open, and guys give it to him. Because he's also part, again, like we said in one of our other past pods, part of being a great like 3-point threat isn't just necessarily even making the shot. It's being willing to take the shot. And 1.9 attempts per game, that is not a willing. Like if he gets up to Josh Richardson or Goran where they're over 4 a game, then that's good. But oh my word, if you got up to Dion 5.7, holy crap.
Didn't Wayne shoot like 8 a game or 9 a game?
Wayne Ellington was at 7.5 a game.
Oh geez. Yeah, that's
I would not want Winslow shooting that much.
No.
Just flat out
put that on the record.
Yeah. But if he got up to 4 and he's still shooting 38%, then he's shooting as good as if he's still shooting 38%, that's actually better than Richardson and Dragic. But I don't think anyone would confuse him with either of those guys, especially since his free throw shooting is only 63.5%.
Yeah, he's a really poor free throw shooter.
So
I think he's a guy that can. Again, I think he can be an impact player on a good team.
Yeah.
Because I like him as a 4 and I like him as a defender, and I think he can create some off the dribble passes, like playmaking for others and stuff like that. I think he's a decent guy, but I think he's more of a guy that averages like 13, 6, and 3.
I think he's a solid to really good role player, and unless he takes a jump in just his own offensive creation and shooting ability, that's what he is, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And that's kind of just what I always had. I didn't think he would be necessarily a bust, but with I just remember people thinking like there were people legit thinking that he could be an option at number 2.
Yeah,
and I was just like, no.
Yeah, his tournament really helped him out because he was a really, really good player in the tournament.
He was the second best player on that Duke team, maybe even the first behind Tyus.
I love it.
I mean, I'm not going to say who everyone for some reason still thinks was the best player on that team. He was not. But yeah, it's just after that, like people just for some reason thought he was going to be a star, and I always just thought he was going to be a decent role player. Like, I mean, I thought 10 was fine, but anything above that, I thought was just way too high.
10 was like people were like losing their minds that he went at 10.
Oh, I know. Well, I still am laughing at Charlotte for taking Frank
Kaminsky into taking
all those
Danny Ainge, you are a lucky son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Lucky, man.
You really are. That would have been a total mess up. And I think
they would not be what they are right now.
No. I do have to say, I do think that Winslow would have developed a bit better.
Okay, he probably would have.
A bit better, but I still don't like. I just never saw that ceiling that everyone else had for him. So.
Yeah. Their starting 5 is probably going to be something like Dragic, Richardson, Winslow, John. Actually, maybe not Winslow.
Winslow. It's not going to be Winslow.
I put Winslow in there just because I thought he was the best, one of their 5 best players. But this like they maybe end with Winslow, but
it could be Dragic, Richardson, Johnson will probably be there at the 4, and then
Johnson will be the 4, and then
Whiteside could. I don't know. It might be Bam. The 3 is just kind of funky. Maybe. I mean, I guess you would go Winslow at the 3. I think you would probably go.
The only options are Tyler Johnson and Ellington. I think you'd rather just have the.
I mean, I would probably just go Ellington in the game, to be honest, but because that shooting, and I honestly don't remember if he's a sieve on defense or not. But I don't think he's good on defense, but maybe I'm wrong, and he's a negative 1.8 defensive plus minus. So he's not good on defense, obviously, but he's not Dion Waiters on defense.
No. I mean, Waiters might start too. I think Waiters started to begin the season last year.
I believe he did.
But who knows if he's healthy, but all
right.
Yeah,
let's move on. This roster's boring. Let's.
Actually, but before I move on, just quick. What's your projection like where they end in the standings?
6 to 8 seed. I don't think. I mean, because I also think that they're gonna have to dump, or that Riley's gonna try and dump Whiteside, and I think they're gonna have to attach an asset to him, and that asset is gonna have to be a player because they don't have any picks.
Yeah, 100%. I think they end 4 to 6 purely because I think Spoelstra is just sort of a wizard when it comes to coaching.
It's more roster for me.
Yeah.
I think Spoelstra might be a top 5 coach for me.
Yeah, I think so too.
But that roster, I just don't like it at all.
I get it. Let's move on to this team's gonna be fun. The Washington Wizards. Oh my god. So let's talk about their big transactions this offseason. So let's start with the first one, and this one was the Marcin Gortat trade for Austin Rivers. That happened. Doc traded his son.
He did.
They also signed Clipper great Jeff Green, also Cav great, also Grizzly great, also Thunder great. Also, Celtic great. Jeff Green.
He has. Don't forget, he has the potential to be a perennial all-star.
That guy's gonna have like one of the most incredible highlight reels for a super bleh player. Yep. He always has like 3 insane dunks every year.
Yeah. Holy crap! I forgot about Jeff Green. And then you're like later.
It's Jeff Green.
Yeah, it's Jeff Green.
Yeah. And then the piece de resistance of this offseason for the Washington Wizards. They signed the man himself, the man who has What did he say? He said that he had flown with rockets.
No, he started and learned magic for 7 years, and then he went to La La Land, and then he took the Rockets to Atlanta, and then now I don't even think he mentioned the Nets, which he should have. That would have been hilarious. He should have said like 40 something days with the Nets, and then
he mentioned the Hornets. So.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the Hornets. I forgot to. And
if you don't know who we're talking about, it's the future Hall of Famer himself, Dwight Howard.
He is a future Hall of Famer. I don't care what anyone says. He will be.
100% he is.
He is also one of the least self-aware players I've ever heard of. But yeah, that was hysterical, and I cannot wait for a already combustible team for just to totally blow up. I wonder if he gets cut like during the middle of the year.
I'm waiting for the tweet from John Wall. Some very subliminal tweet. It's just like LOL. That's all he tweets. Like there's gonna be something like in the middle of the season how they have absolutely despise each other, especially with getting Austin freaking Rivers too. Mm-hmm. Oh man, it's gonna be so much fun. For the all around, like they're gonna be the top 5 most entertaining team in the league for me. Like just for that purely, like it's gonna be so much fun. Besides that, I actually like the rest of their offseason. The guys they drafted Troy Brown Jr., who I think will be a solid guy for them off the bench. They drafted a guy who I think is a drafting stash named Isu Sanin. I think he's in the second round.
No, he's not even on their basketball reference. He's definitely a stash.
Right. And then they claimed RIP Thomas Bryant off waivers.
Yeah.
I miss you, TB, but it was for the best. It was for a good cause. He died for our sins. So yeah. Overall, what would you grade their off season?
C minus.
That I think that's being generous to be honest.
I mean, like, yeah, because Gortat was better than Dwight. I don't even really think that's. I did like the Troy Brown pick. I did like that. Even though they got rid of Gortat, everyone likes to bag on Rivers. I think Rivers is a fine bench guard.
He's
definitely a guy that everyone in the NBA wants to punch him in the face.
Shout out to James Harden and Chris Paul and Trevor Ariza and Joe Green.
Yeah, he's definitely a guy that everyone wants to punch in the face. But you know, that's better than some of the guys that they've had back there. Thomas Bryant was, an upside pick. We love him, but obviously, like his issues with movement really hurt him, and that's why he was let go. It's really obviously just going to come down to, is this core worth anything? John Wall is good, obviously.
He's not a top 10 player that people think he is.
No,
maybe not top 20.
I don't even have him a top 5 point guard.
I think, and then don't let my blatant standum get in any way of this. I think I'd rather have
Bradley Beal. Yes.
Yeah.
2 years ago I said Bradley Beal's contract was ridiculous. He's been able to stay healthy, and he's shown that, to me, he's the better of the two. And if Bradley Beal went on the market, I would seriously consider looking into getting him.
I would too.
Especially above John Wall in that idiotic contract. He's one of the highest paid guys in the NBA now, and I just no way. What? They could be like a really interesting team, especially if you switch it up with like fun lineups. I'd have to look up the lineup data, but honestly, I don't care that much about them to do it. But like a lineup with John Wall, Bradley Beal, Kelly Oubre, Otto Porter, and then
Dwight.
I guess you go Mark. Try and go true 5 out lineup. I think that's their best lineup. Because I think I agree. Yeah, I think Kelly
Oubre
has shown that
I feel like
good.
A lineup with Satoransky is going to be better for some reason, just because.
Sato was
awesome last year.
I would not complain about that either. That was my boy. That
weird.
has been my boy. And I was so happy to see him do so well when John Wall was out. And now it just makes
really good for them.
Makes me sad that like all my ridiculous trade proposals of like Randall for Kelly Oubre and Satoransky never happened, because like that would have, I mean, like I would have rather have kept Randall, but with him gone now, especially, it brings a tear.
Man, that would have made for some fun lineups.
Satoransky and Oubre, both of them are 6'7", and Satoransky's like a point guard / wing, and yeah, I just would have loved it. I don't imagine
a lineup of like Satoransky.
I don't even care if Kelly Oubre is an F boy. Like I really don't care. Like he's just that one guy. I don't care.
He's like the biggest one too.
Oh, I know, it's the worst. It's the worst. But for some reason,
him and JR are fighting for that with their supreme armband and leg band.
Well, JR won for now because he got that stupid tattoo. But yeah, I can't handle it. But whatever.
Just imagine a bench lineup of Satoransky, Josh Hart, Kelly Oubre, Kyle Kuzma, and whoever the hell you want to put out there.
Mo
Rondo.
Rondo.
Let's get super weird. Put Rondo out there.
Oh man, yeah. No, I would have been very happy with that. Oh well.
Oh yeah, yeah. We're fine with the team. So sorry we went into Satoransky rabbit hole right there, but
yeah. He's been my boy for a while.
The guys I have here for most intriguing are pretty much all bench guys, except for Oubre, who starts on occasion. But the guys I have down here are Oubre, Satoransky, Thomas Bryant, Troy Brown Jr., and Devin Robinson. Which one of those guys would you like to talk about a little more in depth?
Wait, you named them off and you froze for a second.
Kelly Oubre, Satoransky, Thomas Bryant, Troy Brown Jr., Devin Robinson. Which one would you want to talk about a little more in depth?
I think we should probably actually leave Satoransky off that list because he's actually 27 already.
Oh wow, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, I've known he was older. He played obviously several years in Europe, so yeah. I like him. I think I've talked at length about Kelly in the past.
I think we've talked a lot about TB. So
yeah, so I guess it's just down to Troy Brown. You were higher on Troy Brown than I was, so I'll take Devin Robinson.
Well, I don't know if I was higher on him. I think like I had him top 20.
I did,
but he started going more down and down just because he wasn't as athletic as I thought he was. And he's more of the guy that people like to compare him to is Andre Iguodala. He doesn't have the athleticism Iguodala had, or even has.
Close.
Or even has currently. I think Andre might be a better athlete now.
Yeah.
But Troy's a really smart player. He's a guy who you can probably run sets through and runs. He can initiate some offense. I think
because he was a point guard in high school, and literally that's what they should have been using him as at Oregon. But
yeah, they use him as an off-ball guy, and that's not what he is. He's a guy that you want making decisions. He's a guy that you want handling the ball. He's a decent pick and roll guy. His defense is very suspect. It might have just been the Oregon scheme. Oregon was a really bad team last year.
Yep. They were good for a year with that crazy team with Jordan Bell and
Dylan Brooks and Boucher and what's Ennis, the other Ennis,
Dylan.
Dylan Ennis and the 26-year-old college player.
Yeah. Tyler Dorsey.
No, Dorsey was he was there. Yeah, he was there for 2 years, I think. But I think Troy is actually going to provide some nice. He's going to be sort of a stable guy off the bench for them. They don't really have a true point guard off the bench. Like Austin Rivers isn't a true point guard. Sato isn't really a true point guard, even though he can run some point guard actions. He isn't really a one. He's more of a 2-3, I think, who can play the one. So I think he's a guy that I don't know if he plays immediately. I don't know what Scott Brooks is with young guys now. I really don't pay attention to Scott Brooks that much anymore, but
I still love how upset people were that the Lakers didn't really consider him.
Well, him or Thibodeau, because they're mad about Thibodeau too.
Oh, believe me, I remember. I had the receipts, man. I have the receipts.
I'm not gonna say. I don't think Troy is gonna be a starter. I think he is more of a really solid role player off the bench who can.
I think he's like a super six.
Yeah, I think he's a super sub off the bench. He's a guy that, like I said, he's a guy who you can run some sets through. He's a guy who can initiate your offense. The shot needs to come around. The shot wasn't great in college. If that can come around, I think he's a lot more intriguing. He's a long guy. What was his wingspan? Do you remember? Because he was decently long, right?
It was almost 7 feet, I think.
Yeah, he's like 6'5", I think. He has the frame. He doesn't have the athleticism. I think he just from being big, I think he can contribute on defense, especially off the bench. Mm-hmm. But he isn't really a guy. He wasn't really the lottery guy that a lot of people had him as coming into the season. You know.
Yeah.
He's more of a solid role player off the bench who can probably finish some games for you depending on how he plays. But not a guy that you really want to depend starting, especially over guys like Beal, Oubre, and Porter. You know.
Yep.
So
I just kind of feel Porter at this point should just be 4.
Yep. Just from a modern NBA standpoint, it just makes a lot more sense.
He's really good at it too.
Yeah. And you know, being one of the best shooters percentage-wise in the NBA, and having that off the floor while being a good to great defender, at the 4 is really valuable. Moving on, let's move on to Devin Robinson, who was a guy that I think we talked about a little bit in the 2016 draft, 2017 draft.
No, it was a 2017 draft. He actually, I believe, went undrafted, and he was a 2.
Yeah,
he was
I just when he got drafted.
No, I don't. Maybe he was. I can't even remember, but I don't care. Anyways. He's a two-way player for them. 6'8", and I believe he's got like a 7'1" or 7'2" wingspan. He's pretty long.
He was a ton of fun in summer league.
Oh yeah, dude.
He had that one dunk where it was like, I don't remember who it was against. He absolutely murdered some guy.
Oh yeah, they're still looking for the rest of the body pieces on that one. He just killed them. But
he was always purely an upside play.
Oh yeah, definitely. And he's a guy that you want to develop into a 3-and-D guy, of course.
Yeah.
Right?
Maybe he can tax him off closeout and stuff like that, but you want to be a 3-and-D guy.
Yeah.
Just for the size.
Don't even bother looking at his moments with the Wizards. He only played like 13 games, and it was only a couple minutes. Like, don't even worry about that. Go try and find his Winchester Knicks stats, because the Wizards don't have their own G League because they're stupid. And they're incredibly cheap, except for stars. But if you go and look, he played in 44 games at 26 minutes a game. Started 8 of them because it's not the Wizards. So the Knicks are going to start their guys, obviously, and make them a priority. He was 50% from the field, which is decent. 38% from 3 on 3.5 attempts a game.
Okay, that's solid.
Yeah, so solid. And then 79.5% from the line on almost 3 attempts a game. Then he also had 5 rebounds, only 1.6 assists, because I mean that's just not really him. He's not a playmaker. And then he had about 1.6 total steals and blocks. So he's a guy who's athletic. I don't think he's as athletic
as Oubre.
No, as like horizontally, I guess. As he is vertically. Yeah, kind of like how Jamal Murray is a below average NBA athlete, but he can get up. So people for some reason think he's a great athlete. He's not. So Robinson is obviously a better athlete than Jamal Murray, but obviously not the player. But he's just a pure upside guy. He's 23 now. So I mean, he's a little older. He played, I think, all 4 years at Florida, or maybe left a year early. So 23 already, but it's at this point with the Wizards, like they need guys to develop like that anyways.
They have some really, really intriguing wings, like all of their wings are like some guys who I think I would like on like,
they just have a lot of big men, in my opinion. Because to start off, like Markieff Morris is a 4-5. That's what he should be playing as. Otto Porter, we talked about how he should be playing a 4. Which is traditionally a big man position. And then you've got, which he's a wing, so it makes up for it. But But then they've got Jan Mahimi, who is obviously a true
Dead
5
money.
and dead money. Yep. Then they have Jason Smith, who is a 5.
That white guy who can make all the mid-range jumpers.
Yeah, and he's, in my opinion, dead money. He's not very good. Then Jeff Green should be playing the 4 as well. And then they also have obviously Dwight and Thomas Bryant. So they've got a lot of big men. They have several interesting wings in the case of obviously Oubre, Beal, if you want to consider him more of a wing instead of just like a guard, because I kind of separate wings more into 3-4 nowadays.
I mean,
he did play quite a bit, or some 4, but Beal played mainly 2 or 3, and he while Wall was out, he played quite a bit of 1.
Do you consider do you consider Josh Hart a wing, or do you consider him a guard? Because he plays mostly 2, but he also can play 3.
He actually, I think, played mostly 3.
Oh, he did, really?
I believe so. I thought
when
we had Alex on there, I mean, like he's a wing in the fact that he can just switch to 2-3-4. So yeah, I guess that's how I should explain it. You know,
and Beal, like I think if Beal's the guy who can be 1-3, I think Hart can be 2-3, 2-4 maybe.
Depending on the 1, yeah. Also
depending on the 1, yeah.
But how you said they have interesting wings, you know. Devin Robinson is interesting, but for all we know, he's not going to be anything. Thomas Brown or Troy Brown Jr. That was a good pick, but I mean, I don't know how interesting I really find him. And then
there are some guys I would have rather had in that spot. Like I think I would have had
bigs. They have too many bigs, in my opinion.
I definitely would have drafted Herder or Lonnie Walker if I were them at that point. But but it's not a bad pick. It's just it's just there, sort of, you know. Where do you think they finish the season? Because I think there's a broad spectrum for them.
Oh man,
I think they have the talent to be like a 3 seed.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's even Dwight, who has not been good the last couple years, has the talent to help them if he would.
Matter if he buys in.
If he buys in, which he has never bought in.
I'm ready for him to start shooting 3s this year.
Oh my gosh, they with Markieff Morris, who's a decent player, John Wall, who's a good player, Kelly Oubre, good player, Rivers, not Mahimi, Satoransky, Beal, Porter. I mean, they could be a 3 seed. I agree.
Yeah.
The likelihood is probably same with where I had Miami, 6 to 8 seed. They finished the 8 seed this past year. And honestly, they could fall out of the playoffs. I'm not saying they will. Let me say that right off the bat. But that roster has been combustible for the last several years. And now you just added a firecracker and Dwight Howard.
And then gasoline with Austin Rivers.
Yeah. So, like, I mean, it would not surprise me if we hear about a giant fight that happens in their locker room. So
part 2. I'm ready for the Gilbert Arenas part 2.
Yep. So it none of it would surprise me. They could be a 3 seed and I'd be like, yeah, they have the talent for it, or they could, be out of the playoffs and be like, yeah, well, that locker room was obviously not going to work.
Yeah, I'm just gonna tentatively have him as a 5 seed. That's just me sort of going in the middle with that. But I don't know, because I don't know how this locker room's gonna be, so I'm just gonna stay right in the middle with it. Let's move on to maybe the most boring team on this list, which is saying something because we talked about the Miami Heat, the Charlotte Hornets. Oh
man.
Honestly, I'm trying to remember what the transactions were right now. I didn't write them down yet, but Miles Bridges, obviously, they drafted Miles Bridges.
They traded Jeremy Lin.
They traded Jeremy Lin. Jeremy Lin was a net.
Oh yeah, no, that was 2 years ago. Holy crap, that's wow, whatever.
They traded Dwight for Mozgov, then they cut Mozgov. Oh no, Mozgov's on the team, isn't he? I think Mozgov's still on the team. They still have
no.
Are you sure?
Now, isn't he?
Oh yeah, they traded him again. I forgot about that for Bismack Biyombo.
Yeah, they got Biyombo back. Yeah, there he is.
They have Biyombo back.
That's hilarious.
Besides that, who did they draft anyone in the second round? I'm trying to remember right now.
Devontae Graham.
Yeah, they did get Devontae Graham. I do like Devontae Graham as a backup point guard.
But they also signed the former Spurs great, literally.
They did get Tony. They did get Tony Parker. I forgot about that. First, I think the first question is for this team, as it should be, is will Kemba Walker be a Hornet by the end of the season?
Well, if Michael Jordan holds on to what he was saying, then yes.
That's a mistake if they do, obviously. I think you need to get all the assets you can for that guy. He's a good NBA point guard.
They should dump him along with like one of those big contracts like Batum.
They still have Nick Batum. Marvin Williams is still there, I think, as well.
Williams is still a good player, in my opinion. I mean, I'd have to go look at the numbers a little deeper, but I'm pretty sure last year he was still pretty good. But if they could dump Batum with Kemba and still get assets, that's a huge win.
Yeah, huge. They did get something that did happen. They sort of rehauled their front office and they signed Mitch Kupchak as their general manager. So I'm just waiting for the call that we get Kemba Walker for Luol Deng. Yeah, I mean, there's sort of just a team that's just there. Like they're probably going to end up being like a 7 seed just purely off of Kemba being really good.
Where'd you say?
Like a 7 seed, an 8 seed?
I mean, they were the 10th seed last year.
They were hurt a lot last year, though. Like a lot last year.
That doesn't really change anything for me.
Okay. Do you think they're better than the Cavs?
No. They're not. I think they're better than the Cavs, but I mean, do I think? I think the Pistons last year were better than the Hornets.
Yeah, they were a 9
seed. If the Cavs drop out, then we just bump everyone else up, and
from like 9 to 9 to 1.
So yeah, I don't think the Cavs make the playoffs this year. I also don't think the Hornets make the playoffs this year.
Well, hold on. I think that's sort of like their best case scenario.
8 seed. There you go.
7 or 8 seed. I will say that I like the young guys they have. I'm a big Miles Bridges fan, and I'm a big Malik Monk fan. Malik Monk he ended the season off really well last year. He looked really good at the end of the season. I really want them to use him more. Because I think he's going to be a starting two guard.
They have a new coach now, so
yep. It's what's his name from the Spurs? I forget his name.
Go forward, you stupid thing. James Borrego.
Yeah. That was who I'm thinking of. Hopefully they use him more because, like I said, I think he can be a starting two guard in this league, and I think he's going to be a really good offensive player. But if Mitch wants to trade him for Luol Deng, then I'm all for it.
Yeah.
I like Monk. I've become a big fan of Miles Bridges over the time. I think he
freak athlete. You've grown on him. Who's surprised? Not anyone.
The man almost did a 360 off the backboard and dunked on a dude. Like, come on, how do you not love that?
I just don't think he's going to be that good.
I think if you need to use him in
you need to use him as a 4 point blank, and
I think he can play some 3.
He leaned out to try and be a predominant 3, and I think that's a big mistake. I think he's a 4-3, and
like Kuzma.
Yeah, and except without the height of Kuzma.
Yeah. I do think Bridges is a good shooter.
I don't think Bridges is a legit 6'7". I think he's more 6'6". I'd have to go look at the actual without shoes and everything, but
I mean, it doesn't really matter without shoes.
No, but I'm just saying. Yeah, I don't know. I thought
I'm a fan.
I thought Bridges was probably like, because where did he get picked at? 9, 7?
10. They traded with the Clippers, remember?
Oh yeah,
They
you're right.
they swapped picks with
You're right.
the
I
Clippers.
guess 10 was fine, but I've just never really.
I had him as a top 10 guy. I think by the end of the draft process, I think like 9. I think I had him.
10 was the highest I would go.
I don't know. Like even the athleticism aside, I just really like his game. And I think he's a better shooter than he gets credit for. I think he has some like,
which is hilarious because I don't think he's as good as a shooter as he gets credit for.
I mean, he shot really well for Michigan State the last 2 years.
I understand that. I just don't think he is.
And he has some. I think he has some off the dribble shooting acumen as well. I don't know. I'm not saying he's a star or anything. I just think that he's gonna be a good starting 4 in this league. If he does play the 4, that is. But I don't know. Like he's always been like this guy that like is always been intriguing. The athleticism obviously intrigues me, but he has some passing skill. He has some defensive skill. He's not a lockdown defender, but I think he can switch on to guards on the perimeter just because of the athleticism. And I think he can handle with some 4s and some 5s. He isn't the strongest guy, but I think he can hold his own. I think I'd still rather have Monk. Just because
I'm not high on Monk, but I definitely take Monk over Bridges.
I think
Bridges will be the better defender, but I think Malik Monk could be the much better offensive player.
Oh, I think Malik Monk can end up being a top 10 shooting guard offensively, even top 5 shooting guard offensively. I think he's good offensively.
And that CJ McCollum mold of offensive only, yeah.
Yeah, that dude is legit that dude can score in so many ways, shooting the ball. You know, he needs to improve his attacking the rim and finishing on the rim. But if he learns how to use that athleticism, finally, hopefully, then I think you're really looking at a really really good offensive player. Defense is another thing. I think they still need to. Obviously, they have a long way to go until they're relevant again. The Hornets, but I think Bridges and Monk is a very good start. They just need to sort of. Well, first of all, they need to trade Kemba so they can tank for a top 5 pick this year, because they're not getting a star after the top 5. I'm just saying that any team that is looking for a star needs to tank this year, because it's top 5 or bust, in my opinion. But we can talk about that when we talk about the draft in the future. Is there anything else in Charlotte that you really like? That really like intrigues you? Because they're a really boring team after those 3 guys, in my opinion.
Nothing about this. Like, I'm literally not going to watch any Charlotte Hornets games this year
Unless it's a Laker game.
Unless it's against the Lakers. Or unless it's like I want to watch another team and they just happen to be
playing the
Hornets.
Yeah,
because like they literally are the one of the least interesting teams to me.
Like even teams
I'm not a huge fan of Kemba. I'm not a huge fan of Kemba. Like, I know he's good. Don't get me wrong. He is good, but like, I mean, I would still over the next 2 years. He's obviously, I think, better offensively than Zoe, but I still take Zoe because like
the defense is so damn good.
Yeah, and
I mean, there's a lot of stuff that
there's just. Yeah,
that Zoe can get better at fundamentally.
That's one of the most annoying ones I ever see. Their salaries match. All I'm saying, like, yeah, no one gives a crap. But yeah, not really nothing about this team is exciting to me. I'm not high on Bridges. I'm not that high on Monk. Those two could be something, but I don't think either one of them I'd really want to even be like one of my 3 best players on a championship team. If it's going to be, it would be, I would probably want Miles to improve the most because of just size and everything. But
yeah,
just Monk is just that good of a shooter, and if you can put him on smaller point guards on defense, then that's what you hope for.
Yeah. Let's move on to the team I'm most excited to talk about. The Atlanta Hawks.
Wait, aren't we going in order?
Yeah, after Charlotte's Atlanta.
Nope, Charlotte and then Magic were the 14th seed, and then the Hawks were 15th.
Oh, that's weird. I don't know. I typed it as Atlanta next. Anyway, let's talk about Orlando so we can end with Atlanta. Talk about Orlando. Orlando had an off season. They definitely did have an off season. They don't have
something like that. Yeah.
They definitely they don't have a point guard.
No, which is kind of important.
I love their top 3 prospects. I love them. They drafted Mo Bamba, who I'm a big fan of.
Yeah.
They drafted Jonathan Isaac last year, who looked good in summer league. I love Jonathan Isaac. I think Aaron Gordon is an underrated player. He's a guy that I want the Lakers to go after.
Mm-hmm.
Then
Melvin Frazier,
Wesley Iwundu, my boy.
I kind of think Wesley Iwundu might be only in the league one more year, along with Jerry and Grant. Both of them need to shoot, and they need to just be able to show holes. Like I think both. Like if Jerry and Grant is your starter or backup point guard, you're screwed. Like they literally right now, they should probably look to try and deal someone for a point guard.
They still have Vucevic, right?
Yeah, and
trade Vucevic for somebody.
That's probably what they would probably be hoping for. Like they've got expiring deals to move. I believe Terrence Ross is also on an expiring. Mm-hmm. And Ross makes 10.5 this year. Vucevic makes 12.25 or 12.75. But like Jonathan Simmons is nothing now that he's not in San Antonio. Like
I still can't believe they completely whiffed on Isaiah Thomas when
they
completely whiffed on it.
That was just a very clear like, hello, you need a point guard and you've got all bigs. Like unless you're going to try and play Aaron Gordon at the 3, which I'd
kill me.
That would be stupid.
They did get Steve Clifford, who I think he's a good coach.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if they're a top 10 defense this year just because of Isaac Bamba and Gordon. And Clifford is a wizard when it comes to defense. That dude turned a team Al Jefferson, who's a starting center, to a top 10 defense.
Yeah. And just even like Melvin Frazier, who's like a 2.
Melvin Frazier, who's a crazy athlete.
Who's a 3-4, but I still don't trust the jump shot. Like,
obviously.
Wesley Iwundu, I have no idea what he's going to be. They need to start Fournier is a one. Oh my word! Like that roster. Seriously, it's jacked, man. Like,
what are their 2 ways? What are their 2 ways? Do you know?
Their 2 ways, or Troy Calpain from Cincinnati and Emil Jefferson.
So that's
Emil Jefferson. That's his second year as a 2-way, which is cool. I actually still like Emil Jefferson. I always thought
from what I've heard, he's been a really solid guy as well.
Yeah, but I mean, there's so many bigs. Yeah, like, oh man, you go.
This is a bad year for them to be.
It's really so bad. Vucevic is obviously a 5. Then you got Timothy Moskov, which is obviously a 5. Then you got Kaheem Birch, who is a 5. Then you got which he actually, from seeing a couple Orlando guys saying that he might actually not be on the team, but still, Mo Bamba. Obviously a 5. And then you're probably going to want to play Jonathan Isaac some 5 as well at times,
and Aaron Gordon some 5,
and Aaron Gordon some 4-5s at times. So like, this was an issue with who did we say earlier, the Wizards, but this is like to the
crazy extreme. Yeah,
like, I mean, they really should just try and find some type of deal, but the problem is now Aaron Gordon is making a huge contract, and he can't actually be traded until December, I believe. And then you don't really want to give up on Jonathan Simmons yet, or not Jonathan Simmons, Jonathan Isaac, because he didn't play much because of injuries last year. You just drafted Mohamed Bamba, like, so like what's your options? You really don't, unless you're just going to offer picks or like find expiring.
If there is a year that they should go out for a point guard, honestly, if they really want a point guard, they should try to trade in their pick for Kemba, because there is no star point guards in this draft upcoming.
Kemba, but the thing is like, I don't think Kemba is as readily available as people think. I just don't.
I think if you offer him a potential top 5 pick, I mean,
Jordan, but would you want to give up a top 5 pick?
I wouldn't. I wouldn't, but like, how are they going to fit any of these top 5 guys on their squad? Like, Zion is not going to be.
I mean, I'll happily play RJ Barrett, Cam Reddish.
RJ and Cam Reddish could be two.
They could maybe. I mean, you could also go after a guy like Romeo Langford, who people are not talking very much about, but I think like if he's not the best point guard in the draft, then
I'm trying to think who else it is. I mean, the only point guard I'm thinking is like Trey Jones, but I don't know how good
Trey Jones. Yeah. So like, I mean, those are the two guys. The problem is they need a guy now, just for the team to like guys to develop. You know, they need a guy.
That's why I'm saying they need to look to maybe trade for this year because like, again. I mean,
my thing
it would be really fun to see a crazy tall lineup.
If Kimba had like 2 more years on top of this, yes, that's I wouldn't be super happy with that because I'm still not even though I know Kimba is good, I'm still not the biggest fan of him. Like a top 5 pick is just way too much for me. But
well, yeah, I wouldn't do it, but I mean, they're desperate.
But I mean, I wouldn't be that desperate to give up a top 5 pick for one season of Kimba because he's not. There's no way he signs and re-signs in Orlando. I just can't see it.
I guess. I'm surprised they didn't try to get Schroeder. I don't like Schroeder, but I'm surprised they didn't try to get Schroeder. You know,
I don't know
because I feel like it wouldn't have cost much.
They've got money on the books though, so like that's why I'm kind of pointing out like. Trying to use some of the useful guys that they got, Vucevic, Terrence Ross.
Who they should try to go after if he is available, which I think there's a chance he could be. Tyus Jones.
I mean, that would be great. Yeah, that would be great. But I mean, I don't know what they would give Minnesota.
I feel like they have picks somewhere. I feel like they just have a crap ton of picks, but
no, they don't.
Again, I love their top 3. Their top 3 prospects. I think they're all 3 of them have all-star potential. But that's it. That's those 3, you know?
Yeah, you have no idea still what Melvin Frazier is going to be, even though he's a really good athlete and could be an all-world defender. You just don't know if he's any good on offense.
Yeah.
And then literally, like, that's it. Like, I don't want to talk about Jarrell Martin. I think Jarrell Martin's a 4. They played him at the 3 last year as well. They have him listed at 6'10". No way is that dude 6'10". He is like maybe 6'8". No way. I'll look at the minutes, but get out of here. I watched a couple Memphis games like they were playing against, and he played more 3 than 1% of the time. Get out of here with that. Whatever. Unless I'm thinking of someone else, but I'm pretty sure I'm not.
Maybe you're thinking of the Green, Jermichael Green. I don't
know. No, I know it's not. Anyways,
after those 3 guys,
my point, like that's. I mean, even Jarrell Martin could be out of league after this year. So like Jarrell Martin, Jerian Grant, Owundu, Jonathan Simmons could be out of the league. Depending on like if anyone's like, well, it was just Orlando, so like they've just got so much bad. Like I understand like bad teams have bad talent guys, but like just also the roster construction is awful.
Yeah, I mean it's really bad, and I keep saying I like their base of prospects, but they have those guys are not gonna have a good season when it comes to development because Mo Bamba needs a point guard. to set him up, you know.
Yep.
And he isn't going to have it, at least for this year. I mean, there's guys like there's some guys who are free agents coming up. Like I think Delon Wright is a free agent as well as Tyus Jones. Those are 2 guys that they should go hard after. But I mean, there's no one this year that they can really, play. And especially with all their teams being bigs and wings. Anyway, talking about Orlando makes me sad because they're going to be in a hole forever until they figure out how to get a point guard and some shooting on their team. They've been in a hole since Dwight left. Anyway, do you think that where do they finish in the lottery because they're not a playoff team.
They're a bottom 4 team. I mean, honestly, if they can't flip Vuciman and Ross for some type of point guard, they may be the worst team in the league because I mean, we may have to.
I don't know.
We may have to see a lineup of Aaron Gordon, Jonathan Isaac, and Mohamed Bamba, and that's gonna be fun. But like, I mean, who then? What? Evan Fournier and DJ Augustine?
That's gonna be the starting point guard. I completely forgot about him. He's 100%.
I'm sure he will be, but
yeah,
I mean, it's DJ Augustine, a career backup. Like, no, I just don't know how. I don't even know who their GM is the old Bucks GM
Hammond. Yeah.
How did he not get a point guard? Like, well, I mean, he didn't really get a point guard in Milwaukee either, so it doesn't matter.
He loves his long athletes. He loves them.
Just so stupid.
Let's move on to a team who I like talking about, mainly because of 3 players. But the Atlanta Hawks, they were the second worst team last year, something like that. But I really like how the rebuild is going
already, which is just astounding.
Yeah, John Collins is a way better than I thought he was going to be. Watching him in summer league, he might actually have a jumper and a handle and playmaking vision. Which if he does, that's going to be huge for him. Huge for him. And he's probably going to be their 5 of the future, even though I think he can play some more 4 than we initially thought.
He should be a 5. He really should.
I think he's going to be a good player for them. I think he'll be a solid.
He's better than he's much better than I thought he would be. That said, I still never really saw the insane potential that somebody saw. So
it all comes down to the defense for him too. I think I think he was a good interior defender last year. His numbers graded out to be a good interior defender, but he wasn't great on the perimeter. But I think he could be good on the perimeter, just purely off the athleticism. Which he's a crazy athlete. So I think he's a great starting point for them there. Then they went out and drafted 2 of my favorite players from this last draft in Trae Young. Well, first they traded that pick that was Luka Doncic.
Oh man, that
Trae Young. I love both of them.
I know that they got a pick back from Dallas for that, but man, like I had Trae at number 3, but I had Doncic at 1.
Yeah.
So like that was just
people are gonna compare that trade for a long time, even though I don't think they should.
No, they shouldn't, but
they will. Especially Hawks and Mavs fans. I had Trae Young number 3 last year as well, behind Doncic and Jaren Jackson Jr. I think he's just too skilled of an offensive player to be a bust, you know? I think his floor is a lot higher than people think it is.
The problem is he just also really has to hit for this to turn into anything.
Well, yeah, for them to be to like
what they need to hope.
Future, they need him to hit, and then they draft another star. RJ Barrett or Cam Reddish or Zion Williams that are not so little.
RJ is pretty much the guy I would zero in on.
Yeah, I would too. I still have RJ first.
Can you imagine next year if they get out of the draft with RJ and they can have a lineup of Trae, Herter, RJ, someone,
Torian
Prince at the 4, and then John Collins at the 5. That's
offense is insane.
That's fun. That's very much fun.
Because
then at that point, like Torian, who was better than I had said on our. I don't even know if I said it on the podcast. I think it was after we had talked with Alex. He was better than I said, but he was also put into a role of where he was more feature, and I just don't think that's what he should be.
He should be a 3.
So, and he's got decent enough size at 6'8", And I believe he measured to have like a 6'11", 7-foot wingspan when he was drafted. So just have that and then Collins. That's fun.
Yeah,
that's fun. I know people would probably want to because they're falling over themselves already for Zion. But just RJ.
I think I have Zion too.
Oh man.
I have RJ. I have RJ first, but Zion, yeah. I think this and last thing with Orlando, it's a complete opposite for the draft.
Yeah, that don't have any bigs
because they have there's no the best big in this draft is probably Jonte, or Nazir Reed from LSU.
I mean, it also depends on what you think of Zion. Like,
Zion's the best big man in this class, but I mean, like 5. I mean,
yeah, he's obviously not going to be a true 5 because just the lack of.
It's weird. I don't think of him as a big for some reason. I don't know why, but he is a big. But it just slipped my mind. But when it comes to like guys in John Collins' position, like there isn't like Nazir Reed, Jonte would actually be nice next to Collins. That'd be a fun fit. But
honestly, I don't even give a crap about the 5 if I'm them. Just make Collins the 5.
Just get wings. Yeah. Make Collins the 5. You get any wing that's there. You get RJ. You get Cam Reddish. You get Nazir Little. You get Romeo Langford. Whoever is there. And
I probably wouldn't go Romeo.
Yeah.
If I was them, but I also wouldn't think it was the worst pick in the world.
They're going to be a bottom 3 team in the league, so they're probably going to end up with one of the top 4 guys that I mentioned in Barrett, Zion, Reddish, and Little.
Yeah.
So they probably don't have to worry about that, but this is a perfect draft for them. Yep. Because it's just wings.
Yeah.
They're gonna be a lot of fun. Let's move over to Kevin Huerter as well. He didn't get to play in the summer league, but I think
broken hand or something in the wrist. I think actually
we've professed our love for Kevin Huerter on this pod before.
They had a draft that if the Lakers were in that position, those were guys that we would have loved to pick.
Yeah, those would have been the 2 guys I would have gotten, especially because Jaren Jackson's off the board, Luka's off the board. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would have rather had Trey over Bamba, and then at 18 or 19, Huerter definitely would have been the pick for the Lakers because Lakers
that still hurts me that
we have baby Huerter.
We do, baby arm T-Rex.
Hey, we love Svi. So
yeah, she's probably the second or third best shooter in this draft, and poor man's. Only 20 or whatever, which is stupid.
Yeah, and then like with Torian Prince, he's still there. He had a solid season for them last year. I like the fit of him in the future.
Bembry really needs to show out.
Yeah.
So does Andrew.
Who else did they draft? Did they draft? Oh, they drafted
Spellman.
Omari Spellman. Yeah, I think he's okay. He's a guy that I liked a little more than someone like Mo Wagner, but after watching the summer league,
I'd much rather have Mo
Wagner. Yeah, he has like his Spellman can't make above the break 3. Like he bricks it. Like it's bad. At least right now, I think they sort of went with they wanted to get the Hawks went into the draft sort of wanting to get their versions of Steph, Clay, and Draymond. I don't think Spellman is anything close to what Draymond ever like.
No,
he's not the thinker.
They got the guards that you
want in today's NBA. Yeah,
that role. Are they going to obviously be as productive?
Won't be that good.
No, but
that's the top 15 player of all time. Clay is one of the greatest shooters of all time.
Yeah, but you got that mold that you're wanting.
Oh yeah, definitely. And like we're saying, if they can get one of the top 3 guys in next year's draft, that team is looking up and like.
I mean, like, dude, they went from a 60-win team 2 years ago or whatever, maybe 3 years ago, to a playoff team still with Millsap, and then Millsap leaves. They bottom out, and
they really recovered from Horford leaving.
They did. They really did.
They did a great job at that.
Yep.
And honestly, I think I might rather be in this position than they were, because obviously Horford's great and he's been awesome for the Celtics, and Millsap is great, but that team was never going anywhere. They were never going to make Eastern Conference Finals. They were never going to make the finals. I think it's just so much better to. I guess in my sort of thinking, if you're not competing for a championship, I'm not even gonna say tank, but you should be just collecting as many assets as you can.
Mm-hmm.
Because what's the point? Isn't the point of the NBA to win championships? You know, that's why I don't want to trade the young guys for Lakers. That's why I was always pro team tank when it came to the Lakers. It just, if you're not winning a championship, you're not really, or even if you're not even competing for a championship, they weren't never competing for a championship.
Yeah,
the Hawks, they were the 1 seed that 1 year, but then they got absolutely like thrashed by LeBron. And they're just never gonna be the best team in the East. Now they're getting a bunch of high upside guys. I don't know if I'd say Hurt was a high upside guy, but he's more of a low or high floor guy than anything. Trey's a high upside guy if he hits his ceiling. I mean, people have given him like Steve Nash comps at his peak. And I think he's more Steve Nash than Steph, honestly, just because I think he's a better passer than Steph. Trey. I think he's a more skilled passer than Steph has ever been. And Steph's a great passer.
I would say Trey, at that stage. I don't know if I would say
at that stage, he's definitely at that stage. I mean, Trey is probably going to come in and be one of the 10 best passers in the league immediately. He's that good of a passer. I mean, and that's probably his best skill too. Trey is passing. Yeah. It's better than his shooting, which is crazy because he was an insane shooter for half the season. But I like the approach that the Hawks are going with. I like the I've heard good things about their head coach hire. What's his name? I mean, Lloyd Pierce. Yeah, Lloyd Pierce. Yeah. I've heard good things about him. I heard that Trey is really starting to get along with him really well. I just like the way they're going, and they're gonna be a team I'm gonna keep my eye on a lot, just because I'm a big Trey guy, so I'm gonna watch a lot of Hawks games when I can.
Yeah, I think that they have guys that they can possibly dump to get more assets.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, they have Deadman, they have Muscala, they have Bazemore. Oh, I keep forgetting he got traded to the Sixers.
He got traded to the Thunder, then to the Sixers.
Yeah,
but I do think that Alex Len potentially could be a guy that they ship out as well. If he shows something, they could maybe get like a second round pick for him.
Yeah. Deadman, they have Deadman there. They have Bazemore there, who isn't really gonna get you an asset back, but I actually think he might if a team is like really just like they need wings.
Yeah,
I've heard the Rockets name thrown around for Bazemore.
And then they get Ryan Anderson back or something.
They get Ryan Anderson back and probably a pick. Because I'd rather have Bazemore than Ryan Anderson, you know. So you probably get a pick from the Rockets there, if you can do that. And just keep building it. They also have Jeremy Lin. I can see him trading Jeremy Lin at the middle of the season. Yeah. Because if Jeremy Lin's healthy, he's a good player. Yep. Just like straight up, he's a good player. They should not. I think you can actually get something really valuable for him if he's healthy and he's playing, you know. Because again, if you have him as your backup point guard, he's probably a top 5 best backup point guard in the league, you know.
Yep.
And he's good enough to start, I think, but they should try to get asset for him as well. And they did a nice job with the Carmelo thing. I think they got a pick from the Thunder, right?
I believe so, or something. They got something from someone, I think.
The storied Hawks career of Carmelo Anthony.
Yeah. It was even shorter than the Dwight and Nets career.
It was. I just like what they're doing, and I think they're going to be bad again this year, but they're going to be bad with really good young players. Yeah. And if you can get a top 3 pick, and then you get the guys we've listed, then you really have something going. Yep. Especially if you get RJ Barrett, because RJ just looks like an absolute stud. You know, like
that's my guy right there. I know everyone's on the Zion, which I understand. He's an athletic freak and he's produced, but
yeah. Well, RJ has too. RJ put up some crazy numbers in his games too. Anyway, let's stop talking. We'll talk. We'll definitely talk a lot more about RJ and Zion Williamson in the future. Anything else? Anything else you want to add about Atlanta?
No, just that they're a team that I would probably actually catch a couple games for, unlike Charlotte.
Just because of Trey and Herter and John Collins.
Yep.
If Herter is really good, you and Derek are never gonna let people hear the end of it.
Yeah.
Or if Herter's really bad, you guys are never gonna hear the end of it from the
chat.
I think it was Twitter or the chat too.
Yeah, I know. Whatever.
But yeah. I think that's it. Yep. So that is it for the Southeast Division. We're gonna be doing this for the rest of the divisions, obviously. Since there's not a ton of Lakers stuff going on. The only other thing that there really is about Lakers was the schedule. I do you care anything about the schedule?
Do I care? No, I don't care.
Yeah.
It was the 10th toughest schedule or whatever when I saw people acting like it was just some type of, murderer's row or something. Like, it's the 10th. Someone's got to have it. It's not like they gave us the toughest schedule, so whatever.
Oh, okay. Look, I'm messing up. We'll just do this then. Let me find it. I just want you to give a prediction for the first 10 games. Let me find the actual schedule though for the Lakers. Is it on ESPN? I don't even know. I know they started the season off obviously against the Portland Trail Blazers, which is still weird to me that they started in Portland for LeBron's first game, but whatever. Do you think they win opening night in Portland?
I'm gonna go yes.
Yeah, I think so too. I think they win only one of the two games. One of the two games they start with, they play Houston next, and I've seen people say either they go 0-2 or 2-0 against those two teams, and I don't see, even though it's the first game in Los Angeles for LeBron, that's a tough one. For the Houston one, and Houston is sort of just like weird with Carmelo and Chris Paul. Oh my god, I actually they lose just because of Chris Paul and James Harden.
Yeah.
LeBron is obviously LeBron, but I just can't really see it happening. Why is this so difficult for me to find the damn schedule?
I already have it. So first is Portland, then Rockets, then Spurs, then the Suns, then Denver, then Spurs, then Minnesota, then Dallas, then Portland again, then the Raptors. How many was that? It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah. So 10. I'm gonna say that they win opening night. I don't care if it is in Portland. Then they're going to probably lose against the Rockets. Then they beat the Spurs. Then they beat the Suns, and then I think they beat the Nuggets. Then they beat the Spurs again. Then I think they lose to Minnesota, beat Dallas. Then it's another away game, so they may lose there, and then the final game, home game against Toronto, and they beat Toronto. So let's see. I think it started out like 6 and 4.
I don't know why I felt like you were saying more wins than anything. I think they lose one game in San Antonio. I think that would be the game in San Antonio.
I don't think so, because I just think that LeBron is going to terrorize DeMar DeRozan, and he's going to have dreams where he is, wake up in the middle of the night and he's going to be in the fetal position. So I do commend him for the mental health stuff that he's been talking about. I really do. That's obviously something that's very important, but that is something that in professional sports that you take advantage of. So
yeah, I don't know who's gonna. Someone's gonna take advantage of that with him and Kevin Love. I don't know who it's gonna be, but it's gonna be somebody. It's probably gonna be some dick like Rondo.
Kevin Garnett's gonna come out of retirement and he's going to just torture both of them. So yeah, because
it's definitely gonna be
Garnett was an insane trash talker, but yeah, I think they start out like 6 and 4, 7 and 3. I do think they beat the Spurs both times, because the Lakers almost beat the Spurs last year. So I think did they beat them a couple times last year, or they're close to it.
You just beat them once in San Antonio. No, I think they swept them.
Did they?
there was that game where we beat them both times in Los Angeles. I remember there was that game where Kuzma went crazy, like at the very end of the season, and like Tyler Ennis and Zubac were playing. Then there's the Lonzo game in San Antonio, where he made like 6 or 7 threes, and I don't know if we played them one more time. So we might have just completely swept them.
I'll look it up really quick. But yeah, I have the feeling that they're going to start off good. And
I think it was Magic that said that he thinks they start off slow. But I mean,
maybe. I mean,
it's LeBron.
Yeah, it's LeBron. Now I can just be absolutely cocky as heck. And it just doesn't matter.
There's so many games on the schedule where I'm like, yeah, this team has a good team, but we have LeBron.
Yeah, right. We have LeBron now.
Like there's so many like LeBron's the tiebreaker for me at this point.
They beat the Spurs in January. They beat them in March, and then they beat them in overtime at the end of the year as well. So yeah, 3-0. So yeah, no, I'm sure like 1 or 2 of those games, like they were probably resting someone or whatever. I could look into it, I guess, really quick.
I think. Well, I know the one in San
Aldridge played. I mean, like they. Yeah, no, I think they beat them both times, and I think DeMar DeRozan is just going to be scared of Braun. Because
I mean, who else is going to
guard him? He was like, yes, I finally got away from him. He no longer will be torturing me in the Eastern Conference playoffs.
Get traded back,
and then 3 minutes later, bye. You're going to San Antonio. What? What?
That's why he was so mad at the Raptors.
Yeah. It wasn't even the loyalty factor. It was like, you traded me to the Western Conference.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I do think we start with a above 500 record. Because it's not the toughest schedule to start off with. There are some people that are like, oh, we got a tough schedule to begin, and yeah, we play a few playoff teams.
But I also expect the Lakers to be better than a couple of those playoff teams.
Yeah, I think they'll be better than the Spurs. I think they'll be better than the Blazers. Obviously the Suns.
Nuggets.
Yeah, I think they'll be better than the Nuggets. I think the only teams that are better than them. You can argue that
after Toronto, then it's Minnesota, which is a tough one, obviously at home though, so they'll be fine. Mm-hmm. Then you have an away game at Sacramento. Then you have a game against the Hawks. Then you have a team, man. You have another game against the Blazers, but then it goes Magic, Miami Heat, which that's a toss up in Miami.
And Cavs.
And then the Cavs.
I really want LeBron to put up like 50.
I know. For some reason. I know. Then the Jazz, which is a really tough one, and then you have the Magic again. Then a couple tough games, Suns, Mavericks, then the Spurs again, and then Memphis. And so yeah, no, I think the line in Vegas was 48.5, and I'm fine with that. So I think they'll be around there, if not over, for the season. Yep, I have them at 50 wins.
I'm expecting a top 4 seed, I think. I'm not even saying expecting. I'm going to predict they go top 4 or 5 seed, but we can go way more into projections for this team when we get to the Pacific Division one, which will more than likely be the last one, because we'll talk a lot about the Lakers in that one. But I think we're going to end it here. We're probably going to continue with the East in our next one. So look out for that. We should probably get it back in a week or so. We'll do another one. I think that's it. Clayton, do you have anything you want to push or anything like that?
No, we've been I wanted to try and make a comeback a couple weeks ago, but then I got hit with like a serious bit of my own depression and anxiety. Mm-hmm. So, and then school started as well, and I just didn't have the time to like get on anyone about writing. So yeah, hopefully we'll be good. And if anyone wants to write for us, so that we can get back on track, then there should be a email and the link to this merge. Just telling you to do that.
Right.
And then just send us something.
Yes, definitely.
We need something to cover the dead period. So
for sure, 100%. All right, so I think I'm gonna end it there. Remember to follow the podcast at Under the Best Pod and the blog at Under the Best Pod on Twitter. You can visit the website at underthebest.com or .net. Sorry, .net. You can follow me at Merge Christian. You can follow Clayton at Lakers1949. And why not? You can follow Nelson at IDK_Espinoza. And that will be it. Thanks for joining us, and we will talk to you guys later. Peace.
Bye.